Okay, we're going to jump right into this. This is all I'm going to show you right this second. And I'm praying to God I get a good thumbnail out of this. You never know. Rather than making a thumbnail. Okay, what we've got here is something rather interesting, okay? This is a Pioneer P41. It's actually a build for Buckin Billy. But things sometimes go in funny directions. And we got Colin in the house.
How's it going, folks?
So, Colin's been helping me on this. And shaking his head the whole time.
He's making a lot of noise.
What do you think of this project, Colin?
Noisy?
We haven't even told him what's going on yet, have we?
Well, judging by the metal all over your shirt, I'm
Okay, that's just what...
fitting to tell him.
Let me show you something. Here is the cylinder for that P41. It has a couple scratches up where it makes impression. Not real concerned. And there's the piston. So wouldn't it be kind of cool if we could get that one's nasty. I'm gonna get a different one. That size piston. Right there. Quite a difference, ain't there? And make something just a little bigger than 66 cc's out of it. 78? Would that be fun? These have a 0.5 millimeter longer stroke than a 372 Husky, okay? I'm doing terrible things to this. This is one of them big gray area saws. Should you do this to the saw or not? Absolutely. Sometimes you break a few eggs and you don't get to eat them.
Hold on, does that mean you're the egg sometimes?
Sometimes you're the egg. I might be the egg on this one. I am in huge, huge gray areas. Okay, let me show you what I did. I put a Husqvarna piston on this P41. You turn you down just a little bit. Not only did I put a Husqvarna piston, but I put a big bore. Yes. And it clears. It clears in the case. Believe that? This is not plug and play. I am using a Husky 372 big bore on this Pioneer. But it's not exactly proofed yet. But this might be one of them videos that we do 2-3 of them, and then I actually showing you everything never to do. Or it might be one of them that, well, that was different. Okay, so what I did, because the transfers, okay, let me explain what I'm thinking. Right here is our reeds. The direction of rotation of the motor is in this direction. So what it does, it's this way. Okay, I got flywheel on the other side. It's this way. So the air goes through the reeds. And then it comes around. And they had the cylinder where this was the side. This was up next to the reed cage. This is on the bottom of the saw. Well, I've always wanted to turn one of them so that it would actually want to feed them ports a little better. Your transfers. Okay, but I didn't want to go through everything it took to do it on one of these. So what I did is just bump my frickin' head, went right off the deep end, and I did this. Let me get this piston up. There. Buckin likes max. Exhaust is going to go out the bottom. Yeah, we got to clean that up, don't we? When we get muffler on it and everything, we're going to do some really cool things to make this pretty. Okay, the intake's going to have to be cut off right here. This whole intake. And we're going to plug it. Now, wouldn't that be a nice place for a boost port? Oh, boy. With as big as we can get these. I'm going to tell you, guys, them bowl holes are within working distance of me being able to bolt that in. It is. I got to locate it. This isn't exactly the cylinder I'm using. This is one that I just kept cutting and whacking on until I figured this out. We are case feeding with reeds with a big carburetor. I happen to have one right here. Okay, we're gonna get serious with these reeds. And being a 0.5 millimeter longer stroke than a Husky 372 with a Husky big bore, well, you guys can do the math if you want to. I taught you all, remember? This, now I'll tell you another thing that's different. Where the spark plug comes out, the spark plug is going to come out toward the top of the cylinder rather than over on this side pointing toward me. So we got that. And I'm actually going to take a little bit of material off of that crankshaft because I had to do a little grinding right in this area to even make this think it was going to work. So, give me a percentage, guys. What's the percentage chance of me actually pulling this off? You've never seen this on YouTube either, have you? We got a few firsts here, and we're got more coming up. Lots more. We're not done yet. I might actually be able to have enough exhaust here to build a proper expansion chamber, like a dirt bike, because it's going to have to, obviously it's going to sit like that. It's going to have to come out from under and come up here and rotate around this way. So, because of the length I've got there, Buckin might have to prop this up on a block or something just to clear the pipe. If I actually get this darn thing running, especially the way I think it's gonna, this is gonna be an all or nothing. I'll tell you that right now. I think we could probably build him a little stand to set it in, or maybe little feet. Let it sit up. What do you think?
Put the claws on it like the old tubs.
Yeah. Isn't this a crazy idea? I wonder what I didn't calculate what that would be for CC. I think 78, I think, I believe. So that takes a 66 cc and makes it 78. Now this thing's got to function right. This isn't just a hot rod. Well, it probably is if you're looking at P41s. I built the world's fastest P38. Buckin owns it. Think we got this with the P41. I predict this. This is what I predict, if I can do it. I'm not saying I can, but if I manage this, I probably can advertise this as quite possibly the fastest Pioneer chainsaw, period. Counting any of them, if this works. Then it will blow it up and never do this again. It ain't coming apart. I know my weights. I know exactly where I'm headed with this. I know what this motor can take. They can take far more. Pioneer was really good at overbuilding their bottom ends. They really were. I really can't wait to see what I do when I get to the reed part of this. I have to make this cylinder work. It's working. It is right now working. There is one little problem. I might have to build a spacer that goes between the cylinder and the case, and I'll show you why. Is you got it bumps up about that far, about 1/4 of an inch it comes up. See that? About 1/4 of an inch. What's wrong with that? We've already done enough cosmetic surgery. This ain't cosmetic, is it? This is life support. What's wrong with the spacer? We're increasing case volume a little bit doing that. I like case volume. The rest of the world don't seem to like it in chainsaws, but they like it in other things. But I like case volume because it gives me all the power at the very top where a chainsaw needs. You know, within 2,000 RPMs to the top. They'll generally all fall down just about 2,000 RPMs. Okay, so something that I know, this piston right here, of course, you remember we used them before. Nice mega dome on that. The wrist pin position, this is for an 046 or MS 460 steel. This is a prototype piston. I think I got the only one out there still, so who knows. But using this as an example, or or maybe using it period. The ringland is quite a bit lower. But I don't think I could turn the top of that piston. I can do anything I want to with that. The pin position is slightly higher in the piston, so that drops the piston a little bit. And maybe with a little machining, we can get away with this. We might have to use a gasket. But I'm not even concerned. If I got to take a piece of aluminum and build a 1/4-inch spacer plate for this cylinder, I'm going to do it. Because this is a worthy build if it works. I don't know. I don't know if it will. But let's just say it does. In this little box right here, I have something very interesting. This is a brand new from CCC. Dave Smith, thank you very much. X-Torque carburetor. These are big, guys. These are really big. I've showed them before, right straight through. They're not messing around. Now, this is where the fun starts. Bang! X-Torque carburetor. We may have to re-drill the fuel, which at some point I'm going to show you how to do that. But it's real hairy, so I haven't yet. Okay, so you can see the intake gets cut off. We're going to plug the intake. Maybe do a boost port right there. Might not be a bad idea. Big crapping reeds. Big crapping carburetor. We're going to upgrade this for the amount of air or fuel we can stuff in this cylinder with this carburetor. Yeah, I'm going to have a linkage problem. Guarantee you that. If I'm crazy enough to do this, or like one of you guys said, crazy goes right to insane, doesn't it? So let's make this really serious. Let's put a saw in Buckin's hands that makes him nervous. I think we can do it with this one. Buckin says no. He said just frickin' finish it and ship it. Put it in a pretty little box with a bow. I'll get, once that runs, it'll go. If it goes. I think we got this. Maybe not. There's definitely, guys, when you do stuff like this, half the time, guaranteed it don't pan out. You are scrapping parts for nothing. You really are. That's the problem with this. There's another problem, too. Now, the original handle, which I thought I had it right here. Right here. Original handle for this saw has got to be cut right in this area. Okay? Because we've cut out for the exhaust. Now, interestingly, this is plastic. I am going to be able to bridge sideways, over, and back down on each side of this handle so I can get this back on. I already got that part figured out. That was the first thing I did, which scared the crap out of me that it actually could be done. But with the direction of rotation of the crankshaft, which is this way going around, that is actually going to pull through them reeds quite hard and shove up the transfers on the side. There's enough material inside here. We actually might be able to flow the cases and match it to the cylinder really well. It's what I'm hoping for. So this is not going to be a build that's done tomorrow or even next week. This is a build I'm going to plug away at for a while because I like doing crazy all the way to insane. And this is going to be it right here. I'm really piped about this build. I just want you to know that. Okay, we got that load of firewood, and we got run Daryl's 2171 Johnson Red there. And we got much more to do. We got a couple inches of snow today, well, last night, but it melted enough. I didn't have to plow, so that's good. But we got more firewood to get. I always try so hard in the spring, just as soon as you're able, to go out, get the firewood cut, get a split stacked up, whatever we're going to do with it, so that, and by fall, it's good darn wood to burn. This year wasn't possible. I'm going to be cutting firewood half the darn winter. We've had awful experiences doing that. That's why I'm getting a little too old for all that. I'll tell you what. Let me tell you about cutting firewood in the winter here in Western New York. Because of the hills, we had a piece of property that it was a mile off the main road, which is down in the valley. It was an old log road that we'd fixed up, put some sluices in, and to get to camp. Well, there was one day, I remember when, what was you, 17 when we went up there and got that wood, 18? 16, 17 years old. I says, Colin, it's fixing to snow. It's supposed to come in this evening. Let's get up to camp and get one more big load on my truck. I was driving that blue truck then, that 1995 Club Cab Chevy 1-ton. You know, it's the same as what I buy now, which the white ones I got. So we loaded the saws in, and away we went. And I was going to cut a bunch of beech because I wanted that. But as we get up there, now when you got on our property, it even got worse. I had a fairly steep little road with a switchback. Any of you guys that live in the mountains and knows what a switchback is.
You gotta gun it and run it.
Yeah, you got it, you go this way, and you go back the other way to go up. And then you had to go kind of up a steep little slope.
A little bit hairy because you really had to get going hard and then turn that sucker to the right and hope you made it.
What he's talking about is you had to do a power slide with a long, heavy truck.
You wanted a suction cup on your butt to stay in the seat.
You did too. We got videos of going up in the snow. We ought to get them over onto the computer so they can see what we're talking about. Let's do that. We're going to do that. It won't be today, but we'll do that. So anyway, we get up on top, and I gassed and oiled the saw and made sure it was sharp, which it was. And I looked around through our beech. We had a heck of a grove of beech. Is that ever good firewood? When it grows on top of the hill like that where it's dry, oh, goodness sakes, about any of the wood is good. It's down in the valley, you get a lot of moisture here, at least. So I'm looking around, all of a sudden it started little flake, real big flakes, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Air wasn't moving, and I'm going to tell you something. The sky got black like it was actually going to rain. And all of a sudden, the freaking wind started blowing through the pines, started howling just a little bit, and it really started snowing. Remember that?
Yeah.
So I had an ash tree. I'm going to say it was probably 36, 38 inches at chest height. It was a big tree. I decided that tree was going to go. I had to cut, 4 or 5 smaller trees just to get in there, and it's really dumping snow. So I did that, dropped that ash, and I'll tell you what, by the time I got that far, we had 6 inches of snow, didn't we?
I was 10 feet away from me. I couldn't even see you.
Yeah, we had a blizzard.
It was blowing.
Yeah, we was in a whiteout. It was a blizzard. You couldn't even see. This side of my face was packed full of snow, and it was ice cold. I remember that. Well, we cut that up. I mean, I cut wood to hell don't have it out of that tree. We really got serious. And Colin was splitting them up these are great big rounds. He was splitting them in halves and quarters, just enough. I said, just get it on a truck. Just throw it on there. We'll deal with it when we get home.
We were throwing some wood.
And what was it? It wasn't 10 minutes.
No, not even.
10 minutes.
Loaded.
10 minutes. I was a lot better shape than I am now.
Me too.
10 minutes. We had that truck loaded, and there was a foot of snow from nothing. And it was probably 20 minutes when we got there. In 20 minutes, we had a foot of snow. Well, by the time we got the chainsaw gas and the axe found, we used split ball. We almost left the split ball there, made sure we got it, and got everything loaded in the truck. And I got out of the area to get onto the road to go down out. Guys, it was treacherous. I mean, treacherous. That truck weighed 3 ton empty, and then you got Colin and I in it, and And probably we threw in about 1.5, 1 3/4 face cord of wood, stacked it in the front, very front next to the window, and stacked a row in the rear. And we had them 1 foot side racks on that truck.
Yeah, we might have.
Yeah, we did. So we was getting over 2.25 face cord is what we was getting on there.
Well, that road's kind of treacherous anyway to go down or up.
Oh,
when
it's
you can
bad.
see the road.
Yeah. When it's dry, it's bad. But low range, low gear, 4-wheel drive. We creep down out, and I'm gonna tell you, it was, if you wasn't working in it, it was actually a beautiful, just very nice to watch. Here you got all the hemlock trees, and the snow's on the boughs, and they're all folding down. Oh, goodness sakes, was that beautiful. But boy, when we started down over, you got to remember, it's just a little muddy underneath. Okay? So we were sliding down that, what was that, 150, 200 feet, sliding down it. And then you had that real sharp switchback corner. We went around that like hell don't have it. And I'd never felt so good when we hit the main road to come up to camp, which was a mile long. That was nice and wide, and the road was in surprisingly good shape. It was crazy. So we got that wood home. I don't think we got any more wood that winter, I think, but we had quite a bit. I don't think we got any more wood that we couldn't get up there. I'm going to tell you another thing is, we had a little cabin up on top. And there was a gas can that I had under the edge of the front porch of the cabin, and it was empty. Well, we have a lot of bear up there. So what happened was, all of a sudden one time we're driving up this road, we get past the switchback, up over the steep spot. Boy, it was just gorgeous up there. And this was first time in the spring we'd been up there. Well, what happened was, there's my gas can laying in the road when I crested the top. I looked and I said, what the heck? Colin, what's that gas can doing there? I said, Dad, I don't know what that was.
Over there.
Yeah. Well, I got out and I was going to throw it in the back of the truck, and I looked. A bear. And now he carried that probably 500 feet from the cabin, and he's swatting it down the road. Well, he had puncture holes in it, where he's chewing on it, just playing, because bears play. I said, well, that's right. So I'll tell you what I did. I went up there and I just set it off behind the cabin. And you'll never believe what happened next. No, that didn't happen. Next time we went up to camp, in the same spot, there's that gas can, 500 feet from the cabin, laying there right in the road. That, about 2 years off and on, that bear would come through there, knock that gas can around to the same exact spot for 2 years straight. I couldn't believe it. And it got to be a game. I said, well, I'll set it here. I'll set it there. Try and hide it. And he'd find that. I don't know. I'm sure he picked it up and was carrying it. I don't know what he thought he needed a darn gas can for, but he did. Now, we've got deer season here, and people love hearing a big buck story. Well, I've got one for you. I had a good friend, and he wanted, right after he built the cabin, he helped me a little bit up there. And I said, sure, you can come and hunt with me the first few days if you want. And it was during bow season. And so he wants to get up on a tree stand, so we actually went over on the neighbors, which we're good friends with, because I don't hunt in the tree stand. I hunt. I give him a chance. But that's that. So he got up in that tree stand. Now, I don't know what he was thinking, but he started with his mouth and his hands making these weird noises. He was trying to explain later, well, this sounds what a doe and heat sounds like. All this blad. It sounded like a freaking sick goat. That's what it sounded like. And I was like, man, where I was standing, I said, there ain't no way that this is, we're going to get any deer this year. Not as long as he's here, I said. I see going to scare everything off. Well, be darned. Here comes this 10-point buck, just as proud as he could be. And my friend is up this tree, sounding just like a terrible sick goat. And that buck was paying attention to him, and he was trotting right out there. So it was working. Something that I knew wouldn't work was working. And I said, well, I'll be darned. And it was a nice buck. So I pulled back. Golden Eagle Formula 3D bow. I still got it. This is a Desert Storm edition. This is a prototype bow, actually. The president of the company was a good friend, so he gave me this bow. And they're heavy, but boy, they're nice. So I let loose. Whoa. Guys, everybody loves to hear long shots. This was 25 feet at the most. That arrow hit that deer so hard, that deer went right backwards, flipping. And I'll be darned, he went and slid down the bank. Yeah, that ain't the end of it. So I'm looking around, there's a little hair there, and there's a little bit of blood, and one thing and the other. Well, my buddy comes, well, he says, did you get him? Did you get him? I don't know. He said, hey, by the way, he says, now I was standing on a big tree stump. I learned that when you go cut a tree, stand on it, because deer think you're the tree or something. Well, he says, is this your arrow? I go, what? Well, yeah. He says, you must have dropped it out of your quiver. I looked, no. I had 5 arrows. I'd let one loose, hit that buck with it, knocked him right over. Well, he said, it was about 10 feet behind you. I go, what? Okay, this story ain't making sense, guys, but it's the truth. So I'm standing there puzzled. There was, just before that deer, about 6 or 7 feet, there was a beech sapling. That arrow had hit that, and it turned it, and that arrow slapped that deer. And on the backside of the broadhead, there was hair and a little bit of blood, and there was a little on the ground. That deer, what he done was fell backwards laughing, is what he did. Laughing at me. Yes. Well, I got disgusted. It was 10 o'clock, and I decided, well, that's it. I'm done for the day. I used to drink back then. I had reasons I wanted to go back to camp. All right, so we did that. Next morning, we get up, going out, and I decided to walk the long way around on another road and then straight up over. Remember that real steep road?
Yeah.
We used to come down. It was hairy. Okay, I decided to go up that. Well, me and my buddy's walking together, and he's trying to talk, and I'm trying to get him to be quiet, because you get deer walking in. You do. And walking out. Never let your guard down. So all of a sudden, coming down this road was the biggest darn deer I had ever seen. It was monstrous. It was a freak. It sounded like a horse running, for Christ's sakes. Well, at the very end of the road where it turned was another small cabin that people I knew real good, good friends. I'd built a pond for them just a few weeks prior. Okay? Nice little pond. We heard that deer running like a freaking racehorse. Brum, 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 brum. He had tracks. I mean, he was massive. He was just, and I've hunted enough, I don't get buck fever. I was just dumbfounded what I seen. All of a sudden, we heard a kabloosh. That deer didn't know that pond was there, and he jumped right in it. We decided to walk down just for the heck of it, and we went down there and looked, and you could see where that deer slid trying to stop. It was right in the middle of his escape route, apparently. He ended up in that pond, and where he jumped out, he left a 4-foot wide trail of water over the backside dike of that pond. We were pretty excited. I did see that deer one more time. How many points did he have? Every darn one of them. Yeah, he was that big too. But, you know, you either got to get it and get a picture or get a picture. You know what? I quite honestly, if I'd had a perfect shot during gun season, I don't think I'd have shot him. Because I really, to tell you the truth, thought I'd seen a darn elk. Other than I knew it wasn't an elk. Yeah, it was just amazing. Good times, guys. It's the little things in life that count. Like the hard work we had to do to go to camp to get firewood. We're going to get some of them old discs out, and we're going to put them in the computer so they can just see what that was like going up there to get wood in the winter. We had many, many adventures, believe me. So didn't Barb, which is a whole nother set of stories. Okay, that's it for now. Goodbye.